All right, Algebra 2, Section 1.5, objective write and solve equations from real-world situations. Just going to practice that. Um, First question is a pretty basically basic distance, rate, time formula. Whenever you see that train travels between Boston and Washington a distance of 457 miles, all right, the trip takes 6.5 hours. Okay, so that's time. Okay, so whenever you have distance, time, and then rate. Okay, that's going to be your rate. Okay, so I always start with what's easy to me, rate equals distance divided by time, because miles per hour. You also need to know that, if you multiply both sides by t, that distance equals rate times time. If you drive 50 miles an hour for 2 hours, you're going to drive 100 miles per hour. So you go rate equals distance times time, distance equals rate times time. You also have time equals distance divided by rate. You drive 500 miles at 500 miles, and it takes you 5 hours, or sorry, that should be a rate. Sorry, let's erase that. Okay, so distance divided by rate equals time. So yeah, if you drive 500 miles and you're driving 50 miles per hour, then it's going to take you 10 hours. Okay, so those are the three formulas you need to use. And you need to kind of have those memorized, or at least be able to start with one and manipulate to get the others to do these problems. Okay, so what is the average speed? Well, we want to know the rate, so it's distance divided by time. So rate equals distance, 457 miles, over hours, 6.5 hours. And then we could just solve that in our calculator, and it's going to be miles per hour, whatever our answer is, because miles and that division sign makes the per. So 457 divided by 6.5 equals about 70.3. That was sloppy. 70.3 miles per hour would be your answer. Okay, that one's pretty easy. Okay, you just got to be able to manipulate those formulas. Okay, and this is just extra solving. Don't really need to work on a slide. You can use that slide to do extra work. Okay, this one's pretty much the same thing. The jet flies at average speed, which is going to be your rate. 540 miles per hour. How long will it take you to fly from New York to Tokyo? The distance, which is your d, and you need to find time. How long? So t. So I'm gonna let you guys solve that on your own. That kind of helps you out here. You know what you need to solve for, and you have two of the variables. So just use one of the formulas to solve that. Okay, banners. This is a good problem to focus on drawing out your answers to solve. Hanging 4 championship banners on the wall in your school's gym. The banners are 8 feet wide. The wall is 62 feet long. So what I do is I draw my 8 banners, just make some rectangles. Or sorry, I draw my 4 banners, but they're 8 feet wide. And I'm just going to put an 8 underneath all of them to know how wide they are. Okay, now I'm also going to draw 2 walls. Okay, and then I know that my walls are 62, or the wall is 62 feet long. Okay, so then what I would do next is they want an equal amount in between each space. Okay, so I know right now that the banners are going to take up 32 feet of that. Okay, so it's 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 32, or 8 times 4 is 32. So I would take the whole length of the wall, 62, minus how much the banners takes up, which is 32, and I would get 30. Okay, so I have 30 feet left for in between the walls and in between the banners. Well, notice how many spaces there are in between them. There's 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 5 space. So basically what I need to do is divide that 30 feet evenly that's not taken up by the banners by 5. Okay, so that's pretty easy. 30 divided by 5 equals 6. So that means that in between the walls and the banners, it needs to be 6 feet wide. And if you do that, add up all the sixes, which gives you 30, plus you add up all the eights, which gives you 32, that'll give you 62. So just by drawing a picture, we got a good idea. Without drawing a picture, this problem's probably a little bit tougher. So how far should the banners be placed? About 6 feet. 6 feet should be our answer. Okay. This one's kind of a tough question. Not a tough question, but it's probably best by just setting up a system, which we haven't really talked about since Algebra 1. But we can talk about here. A car uses 16 gallons of gas and travels a distance of 460 miles. The car's efficiency is 30 miles per gallon on highway. Let's just make that H. Okay. And 25 miles per hour in a city. We'll make that C. How many gallons of gas were used on this highway? Okay, so what's up? First I'm going to do is there's 16 gallons of gallons used. I don't know how many we use in highway or city, but 16 we use total. So I'm going to do H plus C equals 16. 16, the gallons total was highway plus city equals 16 gallons. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is write the other equation. There are 30 miles per gallon on the highway and 25 miles per gallon on the city. So, and there's 460 total. So I'm going to do 30H plus 25C equals 460. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to either solve by substitution or elimination. In this case, I think I'm going to solve by substitution, but you could solve by elimination. And I'm going to do that. I want to find how many gallons we used on the highway. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually solve for city, so then I can plug that in for highway. It doesn't matter how you do this, but I'm going to solve for one of these. We get one of the variables by itself. So let's do H plus C equals 16. Let's get H by itself. Well, let's get C by itself. So let's subtract H. So I know that C equals 16 minus H. Okay, so city equals 16 minus the highway. Okay, which makes sense. Whatever the highway uses, 16 minus that is going to be the total of it. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute what C equals, is 16 minus H, in for C in this equation. Okay. So it'll be 30H plus 25 times 16 minus H equals 460. Okay. So now I'm going to distribute and do 25 times 16, which is 400, I believe. Yeah, 400. And then minus 25H, which equals 460. And then we have 30H minus 25H, which is 5H, plus 400 equals 460. Because those 38 minus 25H is 5H, so we're going to subtract 400 both sides to get H by itself. And we get 5H equals 60. Then the last step is to divide by 5. So H equals 60 divided by 5, which is 12 what? What was the question? 12 gallons. Okay, so what it's saying is, hey, H was stood for highway, and then that's the question: how many gallons of gas are used on the highway? Is 12. If they wanted to do the bonus question, how many gallons were used in the city? Well, 12 used. If 16 were used total and 12 were used on the highway, then 4 would have to be used on the city. Okay. You could plug that back in and check it, but it should work in the original one. Obviously, if you take 12 times 30, you get 360. And you minus 360 times 460, you get 425 divided by 400, or 400 divided by 25 is 4. So you can plug that in. I'll let you guys plug that in and check your work. I can kind of do it in my head. But that's the type of problem you got to be able to set up a system. Any other way to do this would get confusing, and so I just think it's the easiest way to set up a system and solve it. Okay. We will see about this being your assignment. We are getting books pretty soon here on Tuesday, so I will let you know what your assignment is. This might be the assignment, this might not be. Stay tuned for that. But that is it.